Welcome to PGM Academy. I'm Anthony. So today I'm going to talk about the breath controller BBC2. For a smoother experience of using this, you need to calibrate this in the configuration utility. You can go to Tech Control, BBC, search for products, BBC2 support. This is the one. You can download the manual. If you're a Mac user, download the software here. Version 5.3 V1. This is the version that I'm currently using. Okay. So after downloading, you can open up this configuration utility to calibrate your BBC2. This is my current setting, and at the same time, I think it's also better to pull up my VSL if you are a VSL user. So let's go to the template that I've created earlier for all of you. We'll use this template for the demonstration of the calibration. So let's say I'm playing woodwinds, flute. Tap I to open the inspector. We have a few values here. The most used CC value is the CC1, which controls the dynamic, and expression, which is assigned to CC11. If you can get these two CC great in your mock-ups, it's going to sound realistic. You don't even have to worry about the vibrato, the humanization. You get CC1 and 11 good in your mock-ups, then you're good to go. In here, we have the option to switch to CC2, which is the breath controller. So for flutes, my personal suggestion is if you do have the BBC2, switch this to CC2. By default, I set this template to CC1, considering most people do not have the breath controller. Since I'm doing the breath controller as the topic for this video, I'll change this from mod wheel CC1 to breath controller CC2. This is the app where you calibrate your BBC2. The red color is the breath, which is already assigned to CC2 by default, and now is the tilt, which is assigned to expression 11. By default, it's actually assigned to CC13, and the knot is assigned to CC12 by default. Since we're just controlling CC2 and CC11, we'll just assign this to the breath and tilt respectively. So tilt, we will change this value from 13 to 11, which is expression. If you do not have a breath controller, if you do not have any faders, you can use your mod wheel on your MIDI keyboard. That mod wheel is assigned to CC1 by default. So the mod wheel is enough to get your mock-up more realistic, but the expression gives more fine-tuning. Now I'll talk about the breath parameter, because everyone's breath in terms of exerting the force is different. So the sensor maximum, you might not want to set it to the maximum, but maybe halfway there. It really depends on your exertion and your endurance during mock-up. You might be able to exert quite a good amount of force in the beginning, but it doesn't mean that you can sustain that force for a long period of time. So that is also a thing that you should take into consideration before calibrating the sensor maximum. For me, I put it somewhere around 70% because I know I can go easily up to 70%. The minimum, I'm going to set it to 0. That means no air exertion, and it's going to be at pianissimo on the dynamic. I'm talking about the dynamic. I'm going to calibrate the tilt. That means when this is parallel, it's somewhere around -12, but I want this to be somewhere around -6 dBs. For this case, I'll just go to the tilt, adjust the sensor minimum to around, I don't know, maybe 30%, and the maximum to 60%, minimum to 20%. Alright, I want to set the curvature a little bit because I don't want the slightest movement affecting the expression that much. So I have to rework on the symmetry and bending. So after some fine tweaking, I've set this tilt to somewhere around like this shape. So the slightest movement of my lateral tilt of the head will not affect the expression that much. Or if you really want to have a more drastic effect on the tilt, you may want to adjust the bending a little bit. Maybe something like this. Which give you more flexibility in controlling the minor expression. If you like these settings, you can make this as permanent. That's it. That's how you calibrate your BBC2. Okay, now another quick demonstration on how I use this breath controller after calibration on the sample library from VSL. That's how you control the dynamic and expression at the same time with BBC2. But personally, if you were to ask me, would I control the expression with the BBC2? I would say I would use the Ghost Note Conductor Mark II for the expression. It really depends on the workflow. I don't want my head movement to change the expression that much, so I might considering removing CC11 from the configuration utility. That means, although this is still reacting to the lateral tilt, but this is not sending CC11 values to the expression. So doesn't matter how I move, it doesn't affect the expression. It really depends on my workflow. Sometimes I do need the expression at the same time, but I have to be aware also not to have a drastic movement of my lateral tilt of the head. So that's something that you should consider. Okay, peace out.